Otherwise, it's not useful. We thus have redesigned our higher education system in Zimbabwe, tertiary education, so that it has 5 missions. We have added to the tripartite mission of teaching, research, and community service, we have added innovation and industrialization. We have said the raison d'etre of any university is the production of goods and services. The raison d'etre for every college is to produce goods and services. Otherwise, if it doesn't produce goods and services, that's how it will disappear. And we make new ones that will produce goods and services. So we are saying, besides teaching, we shall do research. Besides research, we shall serve the community. How do you serve the community? Through innovation, through industrialization. So this is a complete 5-mission university. So this 5-mission education is what we believe will unleash the energy from the young. Terms of reference tell you how much you have to write about a project that you have been given. Education 3.0 tells us how we are budgeting for education. We will be budgeting for teachers, we will be budgeting for classes through teaching, we will be budgeting for research, we will also be budgeting for workshops. But if you don't budget for innovation and you budget for industrialization, where will the industry come from? Because it doesn't fall from the sky for sure. It must come from a university somewhere. As you know, Silicon Valley is a product of Stanford University, lest you didn't know. So, Education 5.0 is our trump card. Education 5.0 is our way, is our design. That we believe if we fund education using 5 missions, we'll get the industrialization that Africa needs. We can no longer talk about we need it to. No. Talk about how we will do a thing. Because if you talk about Education 3.0, a person will describe to you how much they are in trouble. They will describe to you using all sorts of words. How much they are in trouble, they will describe using all sorts of English like here in Zimbabwe. They will invent words to describe the trouble that they are in. But nobody will tell you how. So we are now providing the answer how to get out of that trouble that you are discussing like that. Education 5.0. You are just interested in yourself. Then we say, okay, fine, but fund it yourself. So within the model that we have followed of societal challenge, and just within 1 year, our universities, within 1 year, when we have unleashed this energy on the young people, by just giving them the platform, we have applied in the past 8 months for more than 60 patents already. And 12 are already through. So this shows that it's not like we don't have the people, but we are not allowing them to do what they should do. If you allow them, they will do. And they did. This is evidence. And UZ has applied for 55, I think the Harare Institute of Technology has applied for 19, and there are more. I think there are more than 90 by now. So we have already started also putting feedstock into the innovation hubs by making sure that all PhDs that are according to our national research priorities, we will sponsor them. And so far we have started by 2. UZ, we have given them for 7 MPhil students, 7 PhD students, and 8 MPhil students, and to do research on traditional crops, sorghum, millet, and rapoko. Because one of the problems which we have, which I'm going to go through in the next second or so, is that Africa is eating things that it doesn't produce and producing things that doesn't eat. So we have said, now begin to research on the crops that were always grown here. The climate envelope and ecology is not crazy. It tells you that grapes are for the Mediterranean climate, rapoko is for the tropical climate, wheat is for the temperate climate, maize is for Mexico. It tells you that ecology. And then we have an education which teaches about crops that don't want to grow, and you know they will not grow. So we are saying, please research on these crops that want to grow here and do a production chain for them. And we are doing the same with Midland State University, whereby we are saying our trees can produce medicine too. Our trees can also produce juice, because every tree started in the forest. Which tree did not start in the forest? They get domesticated. So domesticate Strychnos spinosa, Matamba, and have juice from them. Why are you trying to have juice from a thing which you are investing more than it gives you? So this is Education 5.0 for you. In our view, and in our new education pipeline, we have also introduced what we call the heritage-based philosophy. The heritage-based philosophy basically says, if you have got your chemistry class, look at what you have and do material science on it. So this is heritage-based, which basically say, use your plants, use your animals, use your people, use your water to develop. There's no better water elsewhere, it's just H2O. So, and a tree is a tree, and it has phytochemistry just like the next tree. So study your tree and contribute to the world. That's all what we are saying by heritage-based technology. We are using the most sophisticated science, the most sophisticated chemistry, the most sophisticated everything. But look, konapa, yeah. That's what we are saying. This is heritage-based philosophy. In this regard, we are saying any new idea is useless unless it solves a real problem. For example, agriculture in most parts of Africa has not been heritage-based, and it's thus dominated by crops that are not ecologically suited for Africa, explaining most of the food deficit problems we have. They are there because we are growing things that don't want to grow, and we insist it's because of Education 3.0. In fact, when we have science, technology, and innovation, when it's removed from the environment it is supposed to transform, then it diverts from the heritage-based philosophy, and it leads to no development at all. So consciousness is very important in this whole game. That consciousness of just saying, who are you? First of all, who are you? Because if you want to become like me, then I don't want to interact with you, because I cannot interact with me. The world needs an Africa that contributes. The world needs an Africa that is itself, so that it can contribute to the world. The world cannot be an Africa which is not an Africa. Because if an Africa is not an Africa, it means I would rather be myself than interact with you. I think it's a very important thing. So education has to look at this, science, technology, and innovation has to look at this, and you'll see that the world will begin to interact with Africa, because nobody wants to interact with people that are always asking for things. Misplaced scientific implementation frameworks have been the undoing of Africa, leading to science not aligned to the aspirations of the continent. Thus, Education 5.0 is our own design. Heritage philosophy is our own design for modernization and industrialization. The main question is not how much physics, chemistry, geography, biology, and mathematics which are taught in our institutions. It is more than that. It is the context or design and the philosophy within which they are taught that counts. We are confident that heritage-based Education 5.0 is the correct pipeline for modernization and industrialization using science, technology, and innovation. As a continent, we therefore need to have a common position on the determination of how we want our science, technology, and innovation to transform human well-being and cause economic transformation for Africa. To this end, let's urge ourselves to share our experiences and best practices for the benefit to deliver a transformed and prosperous Africa through the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063. If you look in front of you and you don't like what you see, if you look at the back and you don't like what you see, chart a new path. This is what we are talking about. Honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude with the words of the former President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency Thabo Mbeki, who said, as Africans, we need to share common recognition that all of us stand to lose if we fail to transform our continent. I close quote. Let's do what we can with what we have, and let's do it now. So said George Washington Carver, very early in the century. We believe that science, technology, and innovation, with the heritage-based education 5.0 framework and pipeline, will move Africa forward. The world needs a contributing Africa. The world needs a contributing Africa. The world does not need a begging Africa. It is time for leadership that is characterized by love, peace, prosperity, and happiness. Not time for a leadership that is misguided as hate, selfishness, and confusion. Siyabonga, Tatenda, I thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for this great speech. You said it. Education, everything must start with good education. So far, we have been maybe focusing a lot on numbers, quantity. It's more than time that we focus now on the quality of the education we offer to our children. So thank you very much. You also mentioned the design, meaning a clever education that will produce those who will efficiently address the how and contribute to transforming the continent. You also mentioned the role of industrialization and the industry. And I would like to have a quick survey with you. You know that 1 year ago, we launched the Africa Free Trade Area, and that this continental free trade area is supposed, is intended, is planned, you name it, to improve intra-African trading, exchange among African. So just a quick survey, how many of you in this room are wearing this morning a Made in Africa item? This is not encouraging. It is not like this that we will transform the continent. And if we produce, thanks to science and technology and innovation, then we are able to transform ideas into industrial programs, and we do not buy our products, we won't be able actually to speed up the process. So, okay, let me make it a little easier. You are not maybe wearing now a Made in Africa item, maybe in your suitcase for those who are coming from or at home. More hands? Yeah. Yeah? At home. That's good. Okay. So please, believe in Africa if you want Africa to move forward, because the brains and the design will not succeed if ourselves, we are not true believers in our capacity to change our destiny. I've been informed that we have a representative of our continental organization, the Africa Union Commission. So maybe let me call upon Mr. Vous prévoyez de parler? Oui? Yeah, let me call Mr. Wedraugo actually to say a few remarks on behalf of the Africa Union Commission, please.
Good morning, everyone. All protocol observed. It's my pleasure on behalf of the Commissioner of Human Resources, Science and Technology, who could not make it, to just say a few words, not only of thanks for inviting the Commission to this very important event, and also to thank very much the organizer for making sure that this happens every year. And of course, it's always difficult to take the floor after such a wonderful speech by a wonderful minister from this country. But his speech gave me words of hope for Africa. It says to us that even if they are little, this hope is starting somewhere, and it will probably snowball into the whole of Africa. As you are all aware, Africa is a wealthy continent. Our traditional knowledge, traditional medicine, all those are wealth, including our mineral resources. And Kwame Nkrumah already told us that the power of science can be used to ensure that our wealth is transformed into more wealth for the benefit of all Africans and the other continents. This was, of course, also mentioned in the Science, Technology and Innovation Strategy for Africa, STISA 2024, which highlight the role of science and technology into addressing some of the key issues, the key challenges that this continent is facing. Include issue of food security and nutrition, agriculture, very important sector for this continent, the need to be able to mitigate the effect of climate change, and also those very important aspects concerning health. As you know that the current crisis on infectious diseases caused by newly developed or newly found viruses, all those, or the effect of all of those, can be combated using science, technology, and innovation. And we all agree that we need to review how we are using our science, starting with education and ensuring that it's something that will be effective delivering the goods for the African continent. And I think we can achieve it. The speech of the minister is quite, I should say, it's expanding on all the possibilities that is within Africa to really use science for its development. So with these few words, I want to thank again the organizer and ensure that the African Union Commission is, of course, at your service, and the Department of Human Resources, Science and Technology, from which I am the director, are working to ensure that some of the key elements that can really make science be able to achieve Agenda 2063, the SDG, are some of the things we'll be doing through our different policies, of course, under guidance. Again, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Director Ouedraogo, for joining us and welcoming the participants on behalf of the Africa Union Commission. And you know that delivering the SDGs is also working on the delivery of the 2063 aspiration, and in particular working on the first decade for the implementation of Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. Now, our last speaker for this opening session is a vote of thanks that will be delivered by Mr. Imran Patel. He's here.
The height issue again. Good morning, and thank you for giving me a few minutes. It's not necessarily a vote of thanks that happens at the end, but what I want to do is extend my thanks to Professor Tagwira, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Higher Education, Higher and Tertiary Education, Science, Innovation and Technology Development in Zimbabwe, Professor Gijans from the Regional Director and Representative of Unesco, Mr. Jean-Paul Adam, Director for Technology, Climate Change and Natural Resource Management at UNECA, His Honorable Makudzileshi Madzivira, President of the Youth Parliament in Zimbabwe. The Honorable Professor Amon Murwira, Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development in Zimbabwe, and Dr. Odrago, Director, Human Resources, Science and Technology at the African Union. On behalf of the organizers of the second Africa Science, Technology and Innovation Forum, we would like to thank you both individually and collectively for setting a tone that bodes well for the success of this forum. This forum, you have highlighted collectively, you have introduced some of the key issues that the panels that follow and the rest of the agenda has to deal with, including the key issues of using much more stronger design thinking, focusing on catalytic and transformative change, finding opportunities for dealing with our challenges as a continent in an interlinked way. These global sustainable development goals are not necessarily going to be dealt with individually, leaving no one behind, particularly focusing on young people and women, and driving forward our own unique development path, which were messages that were sent by both Honorable Professor Murwira and Professor Giljan, who highlighted how we can build this catalytic capability, dealing with using opportunities for both bottom-up and top-down approaches to our development objectives and partnerships. We have been reminded by all of the speakers, including the Honorable Program Director, that we require accelerated action to implement the SDGs. We look forward to the announcements that different partners will make, both the individual countries as well as multilateral organizations, during the rest of the program today, that we can then take forward into the African Forum tomorrow. I thank you, the panel, and I wish the panelists, the later sessions that come through, every success in their endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, would like to release the top table and ask them to just come by the backdrop banner for a picture opportunity. And if I may also ask all full ministers here present, visiting and from Zimbabwe, to also come for a picture opportunity. I think at this point we deserve to give a big round of applause for Africa. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Young people, I expect you to make a bigger round of applause at the back where the youth is. We call them youthies here in Zimbabwe. Thank you very much. And of course, all of you watching us via live streaming, like we said, we're live streaming on the UNESCO regional office page. Please share, tag your people back home, tell the uncles, tell the villages, this is what is happening in Zimbabwe at Victoria Falls. We are also on ZBC television and on ZBC online and TechMag television. So please make sure that you tag, and you also tweet about this conference. Please smile.